What's going on, heroes, and welcome to another City of Heroes 101 tutorial video. So you just hit level 50. First off, congratulations, a whole new realm has just been opened up for you in this game. And one of the first things that you're gonna want to focus on is the Incarnate system. And lucky for you, today we're gonna talk about it. Now keep in mind that in this video we are starting from square one, so maybe you just need a refresher, maybe you're new to the game altogether and you know nothing about the Incarnate system. That's okay, this is the video for you. So once you hit level 50, you're going to have a new window that's going to be available to you. So you're going to want to navigate over to Powers and then Incarnate Abilities. Now the cool thing with the Incarnate system is that everything you do will take place in this window in these three tabs. So we have Equip, Create, and Convert. Now the first time you open up this window, each of these slots are going to be sitting at 0%, so you do have to unlock them. Now luckily, that's fairly easy to do. All you need to focus on is earning XP post level 50, and it will go towards upping these percentages and unlocking each slot, starting of course at the bottom with the alpha slot. Now the alpha slot can also be unlocked by heading over to Ouroboros and doing the Minderemiel story arc. That will instantly unlock the alpha slot once that is completed. However, again, all of them can be unlocked by earning XP post level 50. Now the best way to describe the Incarnate system is think of each of these as a slot that you can put an enhancement in, but these enhancements are only available at level 50 and they grant you some very powerful abilities. Now you'll notice that there are 6 slots available in total, and I would like to give you just a brief description of each one of them. So the alpha slot is going to give you a passive ability. The judgment slot is going to give you an AoE attack. Interface is going to give you a proc. Lore is going to give you a lore pet that you can use. Destiny is going to give you an AoE buff, and Hybrid is going to give you a toggle buff. Now all of this may already seem like a lot, but the further we get into this, the more sense it's going to make, so just hang tight with me. So let's take an even deeper look into the Incarnate system and craft our first alpha slot ability. So you're going to want to head over to the Create tab, and you'll notice that you see all of the Incarnate slot names. So we've got Judgment, Alpha, Destiny, Interface, Lore, and Hybrid, and each one of these are going to have multiple options to choose from. Now don't let it overwhelm you. All you need to do is, we're going to start with the alpha slot like I mentioned. Let's take a look at the very bottom of the tree for each one of these. So agility boost increases endurance modification by 33%. Cardiac reduces endurance cost by 33%. So you can see that each one of these just offers a unique buff. For this character, I'm actually going to go with musculature. That is going to increase my damage for all powers by 33%. Now there is no right or wrong choice here. Your selection will be based on your archetype and power sets that you have and what type of character that you're trying to create. Now please, by all means, if you want any input or have any questions, you can of course leave them down in the comment section, or even better yet, you can join the Positive Gamer Discord in the description. At the time of filming, there's around 900 of us over there, and we would be more than happy to help you with your build. So let's go ahead and craft our tier 1 musculature ability for our alpha slot. Now, once you have that selected, if you look over to the right, you're going to notice that there are 2 options available. Don't let that confuse you. You're typically going to want to go with the bottom option, and I'll explain why here in just a moment. So you'll notice that we need 1 biomorphic goo, 1 meditation techniques, and 1 genomic analysis. We actually create all of these with Incarnate salvage. So let's head over to the Convert tab and I'll explain. So there are 2 really important types of Incarnate salvage that you need to worry about. That's going to be Incarnate threads and Empyrean merits. Now, Incarnate threads are actually dropped randomly anytime you're doing post level 50 content. So you earn them just by doing content. And this also does include farming AE missions, which is a really good way to rack up on them quickly. And Empyrean merits, the best way to get them is to get veteran levels. So every level past level 50, there are certain tiers that you hit that will award Empyrean merits. Now, once under the convert tab, you're going to notice that there are a lot of options here, but you're going to be spending a lot of time under the Incarnate threads. So let's go back and take a look at what we needed: biomorphic goo, meditation techniques, and genomic analysis. All of these can be created with Incarnate threads. And again, you're probably going to get an abundance of these very quickly. So that's why I recommend going with this bottom option. If we take a look at these other ones here, these are actually created with Incarnate shards, which are a little bit more difficult to get. So again, we're going to focus on that bottom one, and we're going to create those with the Incarnate threads. So each tier is going to get a little more difficult, and you're going to work your way through uncommons and rares and very rares, and it's going to take more and more to get them. But again, we're going to go back and take a look at what we needed: biomorphic goo, meditation techniques, and genomic analysis. So biomorphic goo, meditation techniques, and genomic analysis, which actually I don't have enough for, so let me go grab some of those real quick. Alright heroes, it's been about a week later and we farmed up some Incarnate threads. I'm just kidding, it's been about 20 minutes or so. We needed that genomic analysis, correct? Alright, so let's go ahead and get that. And now, as you can see, we have everything we need to craft our first tier 1 musculature ability for our alpha slot. So let's go ahead and create it. Now, once you've done that, you do actually need to equip it. So we're going to head back to the equip tab, head down to alpha, and you'll notice there it is, musculature boost. So you just go ahead, double click it. You can see that has slotted that in our alpha slot. And you can see now I have an increased damage buff on me at all times that buffs all the damage of my abilities by 33%. Pretty awesome, right? So congratulations, you are now tier 1 in your alpha slot. However, as you noticed, there are actually 4 tiers available. So you've got tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4, and the end goal, of course, is to make it all the way up to tier 4. Now let's take a deeper look at each of these tiers. So each side is going to offer something slightly different, so I recommend taking a look at both the left and right side of the tree. Now typically what I do is I go straight to tier 4, look at both of them, and work my way up one side initially. So tier 1 is going to require all common salvage. So you can create tier 1, you can craft it using just threads. Tier 2 is going to require 2 commons and an uncommon. Now you can use all Incarnate threads to craft this one as well. So I'll show you once we go uncommon. Also Incarnate threads, but as you can see, it's going to take many more of them to create it. Now once you get up into tier 3, things start getting a little more difficult. Tier 3 is actually going to require 2 commons and a rare. Now a rare is even more difficult to make. You're actually going to need to combine several uncommons plus Incarnate threads plus influence. Now, however, there are easier ways to get this. I actually recommend obtaining them from loot tables after running specific missions and story arcs and other in-game content, and I'll show you one that's very easy and quick to do that's an easier way to farm these rare Incarnate components. Now once you work your way up to tier 4, it can start to get a little bit difficult. If you haven't noticed already, as you work your way up the tree, the next tier will require the previous tier, so it will actually consume it. Tier 4 actually requires 2 tier 3s to make it, and not even just that, it actually requires 2 commons and a very rare as well. Now the way you're going to get 2 tier 3s is you have to actually work your way back up to tier 3 again. So let's say you work your way up the right side and you made it to musculature partial radial revamp. To get to that next tier 4 at the top, you're going to have to start all the way back at the bottom again and work your way up to another tier 3. Now, it can be any of these tier 3s that you combine because there are going to be multiple recipes here that you can choose from. But it is going to require 2 tier 3s, and you do have to work your way all the way back up the tree again. So we already discussed creating common incarnate salvage. What does it take to create a very rare? Let's take a look over in the convert tab. It actually requires 4 rare components and 100 million influence. Now, honestly, for these, I kind of recommend the same thing. I would recommend there are some specific story arcs that you can run and some in-game content that will, again, give you that loot table and give you an opportunity to get one of them as a drop. Now, also, if you have saved up some Empyrean merits, you can actually trade those for rare and very rare incarnate components. So I would also check that tab as well. And again, don't let the options overwhelm you. When you look at each of these tiers, there will be multiple to choose from, but just look at the one that makes the most sense for you. So I'm going to give you an example under the tier 4. Some of these first ones require incarnate components that are typically made from incarnate shards. And again, at this point in Homecoming, it makes more sense. Threads are much more plentiful. You're going to have plenty of incarnate threads. It makes much more sense to scroll on down a little bit and look for ones that require incarnate threads and very rare incarnate components. I feel like those are the easiest, but again, keep in mind there are multiple ways to achieve this same goal. Now, what's really exciting about the incarnate system is the fact that you can earn level shifts once you reach tier 3 in your alpha, lore, and destiny slots. And this is very beneficial when running incarnate trials or end game content. And it means exactly what it sounds like. You can actually be 50 plus 1 or 51, 50 plus 2, which is effectively 52. And then you can actually even get all the way up to 50 plus 3, which is effectively 53. Now, what I want you to keep in mind is that once you reach tier 3 on your alpha slot, that will make you 50 plus 1. Now, this level shift is in effect anytime you're doing level 50 content or in-game content. When you reach tier 3 on your lore and destiny slots, those level shifts will only be in effect when you're running incarnate trials. So reaching tier 3 quickly in your alpha, lore, and destiny slots is super important. It will make in-game content and incarnate trials feel much easier to you, and your teammates will be very thankful. And briefly, I would like to mention that under the convert tab, you can actually break down and convert some of your incarnate salvage. So let's say, for instance, that out of your incarnate components, your common ones, that you have an arcane cantrip, but you need a biomorphic goo. You can actually go to common, go to side grade, and convert that arcane cantrip. Now keep in mind, it's also going to require some incarnate threads as well. But you can actually side grade that and turn that into another common incarnate component. So there are some little workarounds and things if you don't have what you need. One of the big things that I recommend is just familiarizing yourself with these tabs within this window. So just get familiar with the incarnate system tabs just in general. Don't be afraid to look around and just take a look at all of the different options available, just so you're familiar with everything. And just for the sake of the video, let's go ahead and work on our judgment slot as well. So for this character, we could take a look at a couple of different options. We've got Mighty. It's going to be a PBOE extreme damage smashing attack. We've got Cryonic, a ranged cone ability that's going to do cold damage, but I think we're going to go with Ion. This is going to be a ranged AoE extreme damage attack, and this ability can hit up to 16 targets, so I like that it can do that. So we're going to start here at the bottom, tier 1. Looks like we need growth medium, supercharged capacitor, and detailed reports. So growth medium, actually detailed reports, growth medium, I always forget, supercharged capacitor. So we're going to go ahead and create a supercharged capacitor. We now have the incarnate components here required to make it. We're going to create it. Head over to our judgment slot. Double click it and go ahead and slot it. So we are now tier 1 on alpha and judgment. Now again, this one is not a passive. Ion Judgment is actually an ability that it's going to give us. So we're going to open up our powers. and look for Judgment. As you can see, it adds each one of these as we slot them. Drag that down to our bar. And let's go over here and test it on some poor little low-level mobs. Now, I did mention that I would show you a quick story arc to run that once completed will generate a loot table and will give you options of anything from common all the way up to very rare incarnate salvage. So you're going to want to head over to Ouroboros. And if you don't already have a portal for this place, just ask in Atlas Park for someone to drop down an Ouroboros portal for you, and you can click it and it'll take you right there. You can actually get the portal for yourself if you fly up to the very top right up there. Now you're going to want to head inside and go to the aspect of the pillar. Now this is going to allow you to access pretty much any mission within the game, and there's a particular story arc that we want to select that takes roughly 10 to 15 minutes for you to finish. And again, once you complete it, it'll generate a loot table, and it can award you anything from common incarnate salvage all the way up to very rare. So you go to access mission list, hero of the city, level 50, and you're looking for number 2207. And it's going to be Burden of the Past, Dark Astoria, Chapter 1. Go ahead and start it. Accept current challenge settings. And then you actually just click on the pillar and it will teleport you to the contact. And you just run, it's 3 or 4 missions roughly. Again, only takes 10 to 15 minutes to do it. And what's cool about this is the fact that it has no diminishing returns. So you can run this over and over and over and really just rack up the incarnate salvage. And you can take a look at your incarnate salvage at any time. Just head to your salvage tab and then the incarnate tab, and that will let you kind of keep tabs on what incarnate salvage you have. And again, you can get these loot tables from lots of other story arcs and missions and incarnate trials and things, but that's a really quick one that you can run that can help you build it up quickly. So I hope this video helped you understand the incarnate system a little more, or maybe it was a refresher course for you. And please, if you have any questions at all, leave them down in the comment section below, or again, feel free to join the Discord in the description and ask. In the City of Heroes community, and especially the Positive Gamer community, there are no dumb questions. I love teaching people about this game and helping them with anything that they need. But again, don't let it overwhelm you. It's as simple as working your way up to tier 4 in each of the 6 incarnate slots. And also just don't forget that once you get to tier 4, that one will require 2 tier 3s to craft it. And to do that, you are going to have to work your way up to tier 3 2 separate times. You're going to have to start all the way at the bottom and work your way back up to another tier 3. And yes, in case anyone is wondering, you can work your way up to tier 4 in multiple different ones within the incarnate slots, and you can swap between them. You just can't do it while you're in combat. But I hope that this video has helped someone. Maybe it was a refresher course, maybe you're totally new to the game, but hopefully it helped you. And again, please leave any questions, comments. Please feel free to add anything as well, veteran players or someone who just wants to add something extra to it. It's something that I try to keep these videos under 20 minutes, and this one is pushing the limit a little bit, but I wanted to pack as much in as possible. So if there's any more information you want to add for people, please add it down in the comment section below. But hopefully I will see you guys in Paragon City soon. Positive Gamer, peace out.